Hello, good afternoon, good evening. Again, it's Thursday evening, and welcome to Second Thought. All right, Peter will be joining me soon. I think we lost track of Paul to discuss tonight leadership matters, the role of citizens in democracy, and we're gonna wait a little bit on Peter to come in. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this. There we go. So I'm gonna start this conversation before Peter comes in with this little video from Marabillo, the president of Sierra Leone's wife. She will call her own name, you know her, Fatima. Talking about, and not just her, but then we can ask, are we in bondage? Are we directly we call it in the during the imperialist time, we call it indirect rule? Is there a different ruling going on in Africa? So if this is the case, but just by listening to her, why is it that the people in the corridor of government or leadership can put money in the bank in Switzerland? They can put money in Las Palmas. They can buy homes in New York. They can send their children to Harvard and Yale. They can build houses with a fan this high, 10, 15 foot high. So, and let's think about that. And this is where leadership comes in. How do we then change the way we have been treated, the way the life that Africans continue to live? Not just African, but not just her. I will play another video to that. Okay, so let's play this and see where we are at this point. Give me 1 second. It's something to think about. And before we start, I have no copyright to this video. Facebook is for education purposes. Again, I have no copyright to this video, and it's for education purposes. Okay, let's continue here. Let me tune this up. Okay.
In that country, we should not have a single our country is enough to take care of everybody in that country. We should not have a single purpose in Sierra Leone. But unfortunately, we are not given the free will to make decisions on our own mineral resources. There's always Big Brother who decides. And when you fight and say, no, we are not going to do this, they use the system to stop you. It's either they set you up with the opposition and they'll be supporting the opposition against you from the back, or they cause unnecessary chaos in your country so that you are not able to even govern your own people. They will do things to make you not to be functionable. And of course, any country that don't have peace cannot develop. You have to have peace before you talk about development. I'll give you a simple example about Sierra Leone. Every mining company that is in Sierra Leone today is owned by a foreigner. Every mining company. If it's not the Chinese, it's the American, it's the British. Our electricity, Bumuda, is run by the British, and we still don't have light. We're looking for light, electricity. If you don't have electricity, how can you talk about education? How can you talk about health facility? How can you talk about improving the infrastructure of your country? We don't have electricity. Now, do we actually even have proper water, pipe-borne water, so that our kids will not be sick? We don't have those facilities. Why? With all the minerals we have, there is a cap you put. Before my husband became the president of Sierra Leone was benefiting, they said, what's the word? 0.000.1%. What is that? Basically, a company can take as much as $100 million out of the country in terms of minerals, and then they can just give the country $10,000. Now, what will $10,000 do for our health system? What does $10,000 do for our educational system? And these are the things I believe that are stopping Africa from progressing. We don't have a say. The sense about us celebrating independence, I don't know why we celebrate independence, because we are not free. That is my own take. I'm not speaking also on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, nor am I speaking on.
Again, we have no copyright to that video. That was the First Lady of Sierra Leone. There are a lot of questions here to process. Okay, and you guys can help me with that. I'm trying to find my other phone to be able to share. If you're on here, let me say welcome to Second Thought Africa, our Thursday night edition. We are happy to have you here. Okay, but I will ask you though, please like and follow our page, the Second Thought page, and my page. I see a lot of you have been sending me friendship requests. All right. I need to, my professional dashboard is turned on, but I need to make everybody follow it so I can have more space to collect people. But you can follow me though. You can follow me to see where when I post, you see my post. We can have a conversation. You can inbox me. I can inbox you. That will be the best bet. So right now I'm at like 18,000. My other page was 164,000. Okay. That will hike and taking off. I don't have it. So this one is new. But on here, on the Yasendi page, which I post every day almost, I will appreciate it if you follow me on there. I will also appreciate that. I'm going to post a link a second thought that you're there. I will also, I'm begging, on the new YouTube, I have hired a young man who decided he would take other people content and put on my YouTube page. So that YouTube page was shut down. So I have a new YouTube page, and I'm going to put the link here. Help me, share that. And I have a few young people who have reached out to me and want to work for this platform. If you will reach out to me on my Yasendi page, okay, inbox, I would appreciate it. And then I will contact you. Yes, you can come and work for the platform. We can build this platform up. You can get paid more than the police get paid if you work for me. Yes, I do pay my people and I pay them on time. That is if you work. If you don't work, I'm not going to. Because the thing is, the young people will tell you they want to work. You give them a job to do. They will start calling with different story. And money does not grow on tree. I get up as an old woman, grandmother, every day, go to work, and then I get paid for my job. If you work, you will get paid. I know teachers in Liberia are being paid $45. People working people homes, paying their way, go to work, to clean up, cook, and do everything, get paid $50, $45, $75. So you work, I will pay you. And I told most of you, my page is monetized. So if you're constantly posting and you're making progress, if funds come in, I will send it to you. I will pay you to do work. Some of you are in school. That's how you can pay your way, even pay your bills, pay your way through school. That is if you do the work. Okay. I'm not doing the handout stuff like that. So to all of you that are on here, Joyce, welcome. All of you, welcome to Second Thought. I'm happy to have you here. So tonight, again, we're going to be talking about, where is my comments? Okay. Hey, Nelson. There go Peter. So tonight we're going to be talking about leadership matters. Okay. Anywhere. In fact, the video that I just played for you, Peter sent that video to me. And I saw another video. So while I bring him on, I want to bring this so we can draw the contrast, right? So give me 1 second. I'm going to bring Peter on. Hopefully you saw that. The video I played was Mrs. Bill, the First Lady of Sierra Leone. But let me bring Peter on first. Hey, Peter. We can hear you, sir.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Okay, let's start up. I've opened up with the video with Mrs. Beal, telling us about the hold that the rest of the world have on Africa. The last I checked, based on what she said, I will call that indirect rule, where you have the face, they're not, they actually seems like the leaders, but they're not the people in the back. The puppet masters are in the back, cannot join. But my particular question is, before you add your voice, will be while you're coming and making the introduction, and because you study history, so you tell me, how come then the people in leadership are able to put millions of dollars in Swiss bank? They used to, now they bring it to America, to India, or to Lebanon. How come they're able to change their status overnight, but the everyday person is not able to do that? So based on that video, and where we are, we're talking about leadership matters tonight, right? So do your intro, then we can get into that.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's always good to have this conversation with you on Thursday. I can look forward to them to
Thank you.
talk about our country, what's important, and why it's important that we fight and we add our voice to it.
Right.
Why democracy matters. I want to start by saying democracy is the one form of government where every voice should matter. And it's a marketplace. It's a marketplace of ideas. So when we are complaining that we have leaders who do X, Y, and Z that's not good for the people, and we sit on our hands and we just let it go on,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's democracy too, because you're enabling those people to continue to take advantage of our people, take advantage of our country. Ms. Beal talking about the resources leaving their country, how they own nothing. Well, that's just how it is. And how do you change that? Is what I'm interested in.
Right.
Are we okay with people doing that? If you're not okay with it, what are you doing about it? What do you plan on doing about it? And normally, when I have these sparring match with these people on Facebook, um, I what I gather from that is we have a lot of people who are okay with the way things are because they benefit in some way, shape, or form. Um,
Correct.
I look at it like if you could go back in a day and change the way things are for the world, as far as how things are with things were with slavery and colonization and imperialism and segregation, what would you do? Would you change that for your children, or would you let that happen? So I want I I'm willing to fight because other people have fought, other people have given so much to us. Um, because of those people is why we are where we are. If it was not for those people, we wouldn't be here. So because of that reason, I'm going to fight. I'm going to add my voice to it, and I hope that more people will join us. So that's my introduction tonight. I'm looking forward to the conversation. So I'm not sure where you are, y'all, but yeah. So I'll continue and just say that there is so much going on in our country right now that we need to pay attention to. And if we don't pay attention to those things, they're not going to change. This is what democracy is. Like I said before, we are the last generation of people who are here standing at the vanguard. After we are gone, our children are not going back to Liberia. Our children don't see those people. They're not remitting money. So unless we're okay with abdicating the responsibility of citizens and giving our country up to foreigners and to people who don't put the interests of our people first, this is going to continue and nothing's going to change. And I, for one, am one of those people who's willing to fight. I'm willing to team up with anyone who thinks that things ought to be better, things can be better, and we just need to talk about how we can go about putting our vision forward, how we can go about being the ones who make the decisions for our people. Unless you're okay with the people who are making decisions right now and the things that they're doing. If you aren't okay with that, then it's time that you do something about it. And this is where I want the conversation to go, Cindy, and I'm looking forward to the conversation tonight.
Thank you, Peter. I am too. And it's always great to have you on. Your mind is like a fountain that somebody can drink out of, especially for the young people, can drink out of and be awakened and start thinking on their feet as to how to move, their country forward. So and there's something that you said, and I wanted to kind of highlight. You said they will make excuses, right? And then because they have something to gain, and the rest of the nation is not gaining, okay? So they do. Now, this is where leadership comes to play. Hey, Nelson. I need you back on. Yes. This is where leadership comes to play. And this is what we want to talk about tonight. And we're going to go further out and look at a few things, right? And talking about leadership, I wanted to bring this in really quickly. There is and I heard this from one of my colleagues who is an American, a Black American, a social science teacher at my school on the other wing, but he's in the middle school, but 7th grader, right? We had a conversation. We crossed paths today, and he said, Cindy, have you seen the young man in Burkina Faso? And I'm like, what do you know about Burkina Faso? He said, I'm a history teacher. It's my job to know what is happening around the world. And he said, Africans need to come together. And this is what Jomo Kenyatta, Kwame Nkrumah, okay, and Patrice Lumumba, and all of these people wanted to do, but they were cut short, right? So let's talk about leadership. How does that change a nation, the face of a nation, a future of a nation? How does that help a nation? Because we're talking about leadership, why it matters. You're muted, Peter.
So starting with leadership doesn't, it's not just about the nation. Sometimes we look at the micro inside the micro, right? Mm-hmm. We look at we go too far. We miss the forest because of the trees, right?
Right.
Leadership matters in anything you do. For those of us who work in these American institutions, you clearly see how leadership affects their productivity. You clearly learn and find out how the way these people organize themselves is why they are successful. Let me take a step back. I always like to hear what the other side thinks, to a point where I even listen to white supremacists talk.
I do too.
You listen to these people who are social Darwinists, right? And let me define what social Darwinism is.
I'm about to ask you that.
Social Darwinism are people who believe in a Darwinistic mindset, okay? And here's what they believe. Those people believe that survival of the fittest. You'll often hear, there's this guy, I'm forgetting his name now, Horatio Alger. He wrote a book back in the 1920s. Okay, Horatio Alger was the guy who believed he had this mindset of American exceptionalism. Okay, they believe in pulling yourself up by your own bootstrap. That means don't be a beggar. Being a beggar is not a good place to be. Social Darwinists believe that if you need help from all these people, you're weak. The survival of the fittest.
You're at the mercy, yes. Mm-hmm.
Whenever you're at the mercy of other people, you need to be dominated. You deserve to be dominated. When you hear a person like Donald Trump talks and they're cutting social services and they don't want to help African countries, this is from a social Darwinistic mindset. Okay, they have this other concept of individualism, where they believe that if you want to make it, you can make it. If you don't make it, it's your fault that you didn't make it. So the social Darwinist and the way they see the world, Your losing is your fault. The leaders, when you look at leaders, the vision of the leaders is what guides anyone where they're going. If you were to look at an institution or school or household, if there is chaos anywhere in the household, it's because the person who's leading or the people who are leading do not have leadership ability for that set. Period. So what does this have to do with our country and nations? Well, you first have to look at the people who are leading. When I say leading, someone has to make decisions for if we're going to charge forward, if we're going to stop, if we're going to jump. Someone has to do that. And that information, those instructions have to be based on information and experience,
ideology,
and expertise. Why are we stopping? Why are we jumping? Why are we turning left? Every country. The first thing I want Liberians to understand is we are not the first country to be stuck in poverty. I often talk with the Southeast Asian nations countries. So when you come here and you study these peoples, that's one thing I was grateful for. It's just to study their history. What you find out from studying America's history and the world's history is that what they did was not by chance. It was not by luck, Yasendi. And I think that part of the reason why we're so far back in Africa is because we really think praying and hoping.
Praying. Peter, you took that from my mouth. Praying, yes.
For God to come, someone to come and save you. Here's the thing. No other nation was able to escape poverty by doing that. As a matter of fact, the only people who were doing praying, who were the Native Americans, got their entire continent taken away from them.
Taken away from them. Yeah. Speak, Peter.
Well, not just
them. Yes.
Yeah, not just the continent, just North America. South America too got taken away from them.
Yeah.
Right? To a point where the entire continent, the language got changed. The question I ask is, how many people got killed for entire continent to change the language? These people were doing the rain dance. They were waiting for a Messiah.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. We're literally watching our children suffer and die. Yep. The leaders matters. We have to pick better leaders. So the question is, what are we looking for in a leader then? What type of qualities should this leader have? Okay, because we keep making bad choices. And I'm going to go back to one of the favorite people we've had, Ellen. Ellen, she's supposed to be, and this is part of the reason why Liberians don't respect education, right? And guys, I need to say this. Formal education, for me, unless you can synthesize education, that means you can have a conversation in real time about that conversation, about that subject matter, and twist it and apply it to other things. It doesn't matter. Just because you want to study a book or read some theory doesn't make any difference. It doesn't matter. Ellen was not the person, and this is not about Ellen. It's just about leaders, right? The type of leader that we needed was a leader who have a strong vision in how to uplift a poor country. A country that has 80, at the time, 80, I think we had like 50% now, literacy rate. Everyone talks about literacy rate. It's not just to read. Why does it matter that you read? Why does reading matter? Well, reading matters because information matters. So the leader that we got has to understand that our people need to be informed. As a matter of fact, that's one of the biggest pillars of having a democracy. If people are going to vote and say, okay, I'm picking that guy, they must do that as informed citizens.
That is correct.
Informed citizens. And if you're not informed, it's hard to make that decision, especially for a country like Liberia, that we got to be very careful. We don't have the luxury of America having $21 trillion in GDP. We don't have that. So the person we pick has to understand how to squeeze the budget. They have to understand, Yasendi, there are some moms who are able to feed 10 kids, feed 10K kids, right? With little bit of food. And
Right.
there are some people making a lot of money cannot take care of the kids.
Right.
There's some mothers who have little bit of money, but the kids always look good. They're always clean. And there are some moms that's making a lot more and the kids are dirty. There's a reason for that. Just because you have a recipe, Yacendi, doesn't mean you can cook. I always say that. As a matter of fact, it goes a step further, right? Yacendi.
Okay, Peter, I don't have recipe, but I can cook.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
No, I'm just
When was the
joking.
last time you heard a Liberian woman cook with recipe? Right?
Not
You
I.
either can cook or you can't cook.
You can cook. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if you start reading recipe, I'm like, I'm not eating that one food, right? That's just a Liberian thing, but it's a different culture, right? So the point I'm making is we need to have a leader that knows how to cook this societal's food. And it starts, Yacendi, it starts with empowering our people. That's where the reading comes in. You have to have informed people.
You do.
Okay? You have to have expertise. The people built the country. The people built the country, Yacendi. Yes. Nobody else. Not the government, the people. But what you do is you enrich the people. You empower the people. And those people built the country. This is how every other country did it. So a leader must put the people first. That's the first thing. Okay? Second, there are two major things that leaders must do. Or make sure the people are safe, okay, and make sure jobs are provided. So after that leader talks about the people, how do you know this leader care about people? How does this leader talk about people in general? What's this leader's worldview on people? We're not asking questions. Is this leader's brain and leadership style people-centered? Do they believe in building people?
And Peter, that's the core word right there. People-centered. This leader mind or thought process is people-centered. At the people at the forefront of his thought process. But go ahead. I'm willing.
Yes. So is this person, the first question you got to ask, because without the people, we're going nowhere. No man's an island. That's why nations that have bigger nations are more successful because there are more brains. So then enrich our brains. Our little bit of brains we have, empower them. Or are they the ones taking the lion's share of the food? Here's an analogy that I use all the time, Yacendi. 20 people stuck in a room. 20 people stuck in a room. And we can't go nowhere because there's something going on outside. Okay, there's fire or there is a storm. We are stuck in the room. Somebody orders food. One person has the money for the food. One person has the cell phone to bring in food. So those people miraculously brings food in. Okay, there are 20 of us in the room. The person with the cell phone and the person who money we use to get the let's say a slice of pizza, one large pizza, and there are 20 slices in a pizza. Mm-hmm. There's 20 of us. We can each have one slice. But because you use Peter's phone, because you use Yacendi's phone, money, so Yacendi and Peter said, we're going to take 18 of those slices. Because without us, you never would have had pizza. The rest of you guys can share 2 slices amongst you. The rest of you 18 guys can share 2 slices amongst yourself because you use my phone and it was my money. Is that right? Well, this is what our government officials are doing. They're taking 18 of the 20 slices for 20 people. 18 of it. The money that one of them is making monthly, we can quadruple the pay for over 238 people just from one person.
So $10,000. If you're paying $10,000 and paying somebody $500, everybody will live well. Okay. You would
but I said $500 is way too much. We're not even paying them $175. I'm saying even if you give them $200.
$200. Yeah.
Okay, you give them 238 people get paid off of that. No, they'd rather take 18 slices. So, what type of leader are we picking? Do we have a leader who is people centered, or do we have a selfish leader who is about them first? That's the first thing we should look at. Okay, and people like, oh, if you pick these people, everyone comes to do the same thing. No, look at people past history, and let's be honest about it.
And and Peter, give us some, what would I say, on that, looking at doing assessment, analyzing people before electing them. Just elaborate a little more on it. When
Yeah.
you're picking that
Yeah, we all do that, right? In politics, it's called vetting, right? That just means going through the process of getting to know that person.
Yes.
Guys, it's said that the most important thing you can do as a person is you better be careful who you have a child with or who you marry.
I wanted to say that Grandpa used to say that, or who you married. Yes.
Right? You better be careful with that because it affects your life. Just like you better be careful who you pick to lead. Okay? Who you pick to be vulnerable around. And that's why our people are very vulnerable. So now the question is, okay, how do we find out about these people more instead of just waiting till election time? Well, simple. Do they just do some hand pumps around election time? Go look at other conversations that they've had. Has this been about people? Ask the people around them. And everyone cannot do that, but the people we're choosing, the people we're empowering to be our leaders for our community, they need to do that. Okay, I said something today. There's nothing wrong with being a big shot, Yasendi. Let me go back to leaders now. Before we talk about presidents and senators and community leaders, there's nothing wrong with being a big shot. When these people come to America, they want to have Secret Service walk them around. They want to be big shot. They want to get in the big cars. In Liberia, they want to have air conditions. They want to have their AC going and their generator going 24/7. No problem. If you want to be a big shot, do big shot things. When I said big shot things, solve problems that people didn't think was possible to be solved for people.
Amen.
Do big shot things for people, then you can get some more money. Make sure that whatever you're doing is based on merit. Earn that. If Joseph Boycott wants to get paid $6 million a year, $3 million, however much, great. We didn't think that our education system can compete with England. Tell us an educational worldview that's going to elevate us to that level for our children. Make sure that we don't have medical issues in the country. We have good health care. We will clap for you. I will help you lay down whatever lap out we need to lay down. But you're not doing big time things.
Because you're adding values. Yes.
Yes. It's all about value added. So we have these people like Young Bleed, like Joseph Boyka, all these so-called big shots, right? George Weah. What value have you added to the country? And if you're not adding value, what makes you think you should have 18 of the 20 slices of pizza? Because people elected you? So we got to be careful who we pick as a leader. To pick those people, we have to vet them. We have to find out what they have been doing, what they have been saying. Man can only hide for so long, Yasendi. Okay, it doesn't take that. It doesn't take all day to recognize sunshine. If that person, and there are people like that.
Have you heard that? It does not take that long to recognize the sunshine.
It doesn't. It doesn't take all day to recognize sunshine. If that person, if that person is the leader that should be leading our children's lives, you would easily and quickly see that. But the problem is we pick people based on tribal lines, based on political party affiliation lines, right. And it is ruining our lives. So the first thing I'm going to say is that first two steps. Make sure the person is people-centered, and the way you find out is by talking to other people around them, our leaders who's telling us to vote for this person, vote for that person. Let's ask them questions about this person and that person. That's the first thing I'll say to do.
Okay. Great. I see people here, Sleeky, and welcome. Thank you for being here. We might ask you to come on next week if you're okay with that. Sis Priscilla, thank you. Yes, yeah, because Coach coaching us, young people. I will ask you, young people, come on, invite your friends to come and listen. We don't force here, we educate here, especially Thursday night. We are talking to experts, people who have wide range of knowledge, especially on how nations are built from different aspects. Like last week, we had an engineer on the line. I think you heard about the water service in Bobolu. We have to go on the air in Liberia to come back and say, oh, it was not 750 feet. It's smaller than that, because we wanted to tap into people who understood that particular area, although we into different area, but we bring people, although just from common sense, understanding from common sense, that don't make sense. And because that does not make sense, and you analyze that, you bring in the expert to talk about that. Peter understand how the rest of the world works because he extensively studied the rest of the world. Now, I'm going to say from Confucius. Confucius said, if you want to invest and you have a year, plant rice. If you want to invest and you have 10 years, plant tree. If you want to invest for generations to come, you must invest in the children, educate the population. Because like Peter just talked about the brain, right? When you have talent, when John F. Kennedy came to the scene, he didn't know all of this happened behind him. He said, because it was the turn of the century, we were at war, okay? And people was like, we are suffering, you needed to focus on our country. He said, we can do that. We can do both. We can go to the moon. I know it's difficult, but we can do both. You and I together today, Peter, because somebody dreamed, somebody had a vision, somebody were adamant and wondered what was best for his nation to be competitive. Okay, so they invested in the astronaut and into space. We are here, so that's what we're telling you. Add of value. Now, looking for a leader, and Peter added really a bigger point, and I came with confusion. Confucius said the strength of the nation depends on the integrity of the home. Okay, so you will see children like we have this week, Peter. We have parent teacher meeting. I have a lot of kids. I have about 100, almost 130 kids. These are young people, teenager, very challenging. Okay. They're finding themselves, they're going to high school. They think, especially for the boys, literally everyone is taller than me. Some of them tower over me. Some of them as tall as you are, you will see. And I'm this little person. But when some of these kids, when you call their father's name and say, I'm calling your father, you can see their shoulders will drop. They will become children again. Okay. All that big shot will come there because there is a leader in their lives that they respect, that they also are answerable to. Now, what am I saying? If we say in Liberia, if the house does not sell you, the street will not buy you. You as the parent, you as an informed person, you as a young person, you have a responsibility, if not to yourself, but to the next generation, to choose wisely. And we're having this conversation because lately we're on Facebook and everybody talking, oh, this person is supposed to do this. Oh, that person is supposed to do this. Where is this person while they are not speaking? Especially if you live in China, you live in Europe, you live in America. When people go to election, I don't see Kamala Harris screaming here. That's why we have our lawmaker. The last response that was given after Donald Trump's speech, it was not by a political leader. It was about one of the leaders in the political party, but I think a representative. That's how it works. Or a citizen. You have the power because you elect those people. You have a responsibility to scrutinize, to investigate, to ask the needed question. What are you bringing to the table? What is your economic worldview, especially in today's global economy, e-commerce, okay, where people sit in their homes? Let me say this to y'all. On my platform, on my personal platform, the reason I do show on there because it's monetized. We're just building this particular one up now, okay? So at least now I'm able to pay for my StreamYard, okay? So what question are you asking? What kind of future do you want for your children? If you have a goal, then go back. The people that are putting themselves out there, what are they bringing to the table? That should be your first and foremost question. If they want to lead you, where have they led before? What have they done before that they've done successfully? What did they was it about then, or was it about the community, or was it about the people? Do people make them move? Or they're just giving you rhetoric because they want power? So, Peter.
So yeah, I want to start off where you left off.
Okay.
When you said power, I think that term is very important. Power to do what? What power? Well,
Right.
power to affect people's lives. Power to change lives. That's what power is, right? You can move people, you can affect and change their lives. You can do it for good or bad.
Yeah.
Right? But you have influence over them that they don't have themselves much choice or control over. Let's look at the people who've had power so far. What have they done with that power that they have over their lives? Do you still not drive down the street and look left and right and see 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds selling? Do we still not have our kids not going to school and our mothers in the market having after school, the kids got to go and sleep on the floor next to them?
Right.
So what power are we talking about here? We're giving people power over their lives to do what with it? That's what power is, right? You get to make decisions for binding decisions for other people's families. Now that you have this power to make binding decisions for other people's family, what are you doing with it? Number one. Number two, I would take Joseph Boyka for an example. Okay, probably one of my least favorite human beings ever. You said you had all this experience. You have
almost
all
50
this
years.
Yeah, 43 years, right? Let's look at the power. So you've had power over to impact the lives of people before. So when I go back to the fact that the person who you pick as a leader have to be people-centered, go back over this man's lives. How has this man empowered or used his power to benefit, to better the lives of people around him? 42 years. There should be example after example after example ad nauseum. There should be examples. When you have to say, oh, when he was head of LPMC on Liberia Cell Rice, that tells me we picked the wrong person. When you have to reach, even if that person was in power for a year, there should be stories after stories. There should be testimonies of how this man lifted a community, a society, a country, a town, a village, because he was given power to do so and use that power for positive. The fact that a person like that, and it's not just Boycott, there are so many people out there, like Henry Costa thinks he should be a leader right now, right? Leader how? For whom? Here are the things. I just wrote a few things down that I talked about today. To be a leader especially as a president, the first thing you need, so just give me 1 second to go through this list.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
The first thing you need.
I told you tonight I'm all ears. Yeah.
Okay. The first thing you need is you need that person to be an expert in the field. He needs to have expertise in some field. The question should be, why does that matter that that person is an expert? Well, because experts know experts. There's a nuanced way that someone who's an expert, if this person is an expert at, even if they're a custodian, even if they're a farmer, Yasendi, they know certain crops, how it will grow, why that something that looks normal would not work. When the expert is talking, they sound different than a layman. They just know things that nuanced things that you and I, who's not expert in that field, don't even think about. So there could be an expert farmer. This is what Joseph Boycott said he was, right? He agriculture. But he couldn't tell you any he couldn't tell you any nuanced agriculture knowledge. He couldn't tell you what's cutting edge right now. He couldn't tell you any best practices to grow certain crops because he's not an expert. Here's why that matters, Yasendi. My expertise is athletics and education. If someone is an expert and they're talking about whatever their field is, an expert knows an expert by the way they talk. So if I'm going to hire you to help me in my cabinet to say Yasendi is going to do something with women or children or public health, when Yasendi interviews, I'm looking for certain key phrases and how she talks because I'm an expert myself in my field. And I know that experts go down certain paths that lay people don't. When someone's avoiding interviews and questions, Yasendi, that's the first telltale sign that they're not an expert. When Boycott was asked questions, he said things like general things like acronyms. Oh, arrest, and then we're going to do this, we're going to do that. He never said one how, when, never. By what means, what obstacle we might run into with certain things. This is how experts talk. If a doctor is speaking, the things that will say you might think, like, oh, I have a headache, and they'll be like, oh, it could be that, or that because of this, and this. And then, or a mechanic who's an expert, you just know an expert. But expert knows experts, and you need the leader to be an expert because he has to pick people to help him along. So he has to pick other experts. That's why you can't just get anybody to do the job. Secondly, the type of president we need, he needs to have a high general level of knowledge of the whole country, the issues that the nation might face. Here's what people who aspire to be leaders do. Yasendi, they daydream. They have this worldview and they daydream. Even Kagame, right? This man, when he was in exile, he literally daydreamed about, man, if I ever was to get this. Or someone who's trying to build a house and they spend so much time, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to paint my house there. I'm going to have a porch here. I'm going to do this. They spend time thinking about it. If a person is going to be a leader of a country, they will think about what else is country? Water. What's the best way we can get water to our people? What's the best way to get water? Okay, they will look into water. They will understand water. Education. They will understand how education, what type of education, what type of people need to lead, what type of curriculum we should have, where should our nation be going, how is it going to affect us in 10 years, how is it going to affect us in 20 years. They think about the general things. Healthcare. What's killing our people? People don't understand. This is the only reason why I supported Cummings. When he spoke, he says, well, healthcare, we need to take care of common illnesses if we have preventable diseases. That's how experts talk, people. It's not because I don't know this man from a hole in the wall, but he spoke like an expert would, someone who's been thinking about it. Okay, how do we make sure we don't have capital flight? That means all the money we're sending back to Liberia, the Lebanese, Chinese, and Indians are taking it out and sending it back to their country. Well, an expert will talk about how you stop that because the money has to circulate. It's not circulating. The vast majority that those people get goes to these foreigners. No country functions like that. So an expert, the next thing they needed was a high general knowledge of how the country is running, the issues they're facing, and how you might solve it. So then they look for experts to help them solve it with whatever vision they have about it. So the second thing. So don't forget, first you got to be an expert. Second, you have to have a wide general knowledge. The third thing you need is charisma. Here's why charisma is important, because morale is important with your leaders and your people. Okay. Another thing that your man boycott is lacking, charisma. You need to be able to say to the people when they're hurting, I feel you. And these people got to connect with you when you're saying it. We're going to be okay. When things go hard for your leaders or your people, your cabinet around you, and they can't accomplish something, or something disaster happens in the country, that charismatic leader is supposed to lift the spirits of everyone. That is extremely important for a leader of a nation. We don't have a man that has charisma. He doesn't walk in the room and people swell. He's a wet blanket. Wet blanket. That man has as much charisma. Here's the analogy I use. He has as much charisma as a terrorist at a Quran burning event. That's how much charisma he has. Zero. There's nothing charismatic about this man. We have our houses burning. We have the police fighting each other. We have no food. We have no
electricity. The police. Yes, sir.
We have no electricity. We have all this money taken out of our country. People are unhappy. Our capitalist building is burning. And you hear not a word from this man. Cannot be leading our children's lives and our future. The wrong person. No charisma. No leadership. The next thing they must have, a very high level of empathy, Yasendi.
Yep.
Here's what empathy does. I don't agree with you, but I see where you're coming from. Or what if it was me that my wife was giving birth and she died? How would that make me feel?
Oh, what if my child can afford to buy gas, to put gas for her?
What if my child was sick and I couldn't, and there was no money to take him to the hospital, and we have to watch him shiver with malaria, or my kid was hungry? How would I feel? How would I feel if I was the one, and this is near dear to me, Yasendi, if I was the one who, yes, you should have insurance on your bike, but they can't afford insurance on the bike. How would I feel if I was the one bike who was getting taken from me? The only means I have to feed my family that night, or to feed myself. Empathy would tell you, you'll fight too. You think I'm gonna just let my bike go? If I let my bike go, how am I gonna eat tonight? What am I gonna take to my wife and my kid at home? I have nothing. And you're literally beating me up and dragging my bike. No, you have to kill me. As a man, you have to do that. Empathy. He needs to understand that there has to be some reprieve here. There has to be some subsidy. There has to be some help. We probably need to create some avenue to help these people first before we look to enforce draconian laws against them.
Yes, Peter.
But you're not thinking that because you have no empathy. Part of the reason we know you have no empathy because you are accused of rape. Joseph Boycott. I'm not saying something that they say, Yasendi. Everyone is an open secret. So a man who does that, there is no man. I said this before. My whole adult life, since I was in high school, I've been in locker rooms with probably 80 to 50 men, boys around us, right? We talk, we hang out. So I have a lot of friends that and this is what I do for a living around those people. I've never once heard a conversation about someone bragging about raping a woman. Ever. Or how they force her to do stuff. That was never a cool conversation. Because even boys, even the ones who think conquering a woman after a woman is cool, they want to be able to convince her. That's where the game is. Not force her to do it. Yasendi, you have to, serial killers and rapists,
They have zero empathy. That's one thing they have in common. They cannot put themselves in somebody else's shoes. They cannot talk about, they can't think about how violent in someone in that way makes her feel or destroy, takes away from her. You can't pick a man with that track record and say he's going to have empathy for watching this 10-year-old sell on the street, or watching a baby sleep next to her mom or his mom in a market with dirty sitting water, and watch our mothers suffer day after day after day. He doesn't think about that because he lacks empathy. This is extremely important. Okay? And the last thing, Yasendi, on my list is that leader has to be respected by his peers and his subordinates. Doesn't necessarily have to be feared or loved, but definitely must be respected. Respected based on merit. We don't like, even when they fear you, they're like, this person really knows their stuff. This person is so good at this. That's the only reason why they're able to do this. When they don't respect you, and a part of the reason they don't respect our current leader is because he has no skill. He thinks he should be a king, just say, do this and it happen, do that. This is not a wish. You're not a wizard. That's not how presidency works. You actually have to know things. People actually have to come to you with problems, and you have to look at it, and they didn't think you could solve it, and say, oh no, here's the code, this is how you solve it. And they're like, wow. You have to have a wow factor for your subordinates to respect you and come to you with problems. A person who just talks with no integrity, people are not going to respect them. And here's the problem that creates. Now everyone thinks they can lead because they see you lead it. So these are my 5 things that you must have, right? Expertise, high general knowledge, charisma, high level of empathy, and you must be respected by your people. It's up to you. Go back and look at our leader, see if he has those.
And
those
somebody
qualities.
who can walk their talk.
Yes.
Yes.
Go and look at the leader. So when you're picking a leader, do they have these? The person we have currently, does he have these qualities? You're going to find out the answer is no.
So based on everything that you say, I wanted to bring this to bear so we can look at some examples. Jerry Rawlings told the Ghanaian people, he said, when I was in the army, when I was flying, I saw that we are in a city, and I saw the suffering of our people going to fetch water that was not even worth drinking. And the people in the city keep making excuses. You know, there was a coup before. He turned it over to the group. They went back to the old doing. He came back and he took over. And this story takes me back all the way to America. During the Great Depression, okay, when FDR took over, he decided that he had 3 things in mind. Recover. First was what? Relieve, recover, and reform. That was his 3 goals. All right. And the reason being, remember when Ambassador McCarthy had traveled all of Liberia, and he said, Monrovia is not Liberia. He understood the suffering of the people. In fact, when he did that open air where he said, I was in Liberia as a Peace Corps. And even up interior in the rural part, the women would get up in the morning and clean their yard. And Monrovia was dirty. And he said something to this effect. It seems that the leadership have some contempt for the Liberian people. That's what he said, correct?
That's right.
So that means they didn't care. They have no empathy. Okay. It was all about them. Now, I just brought you.
Do you mind me pausing on that for a second? Because I think that's profound.
Go ahead.
What he said was very profound, Yasendi.
Mm-hmm.
He said, it seems that the leaders of Liberia have some contempt for the people. Let's look at the term contempt. What does contempt mean? Contempt means extreme hatred.
Yeah.
So he didn't say what they lack empathy. He said they hate it. The way they are carrying on, the fact that they're eating 18 of the 20 slices amongst two people, they must hate these people. It's not like they don't care. He said contempt. These people, it seemed like the leaders.
Go back and read it. It's in there. He critical his travel, the money that America was giving to Liberia, even for medical health, okay, cure diseases, for women health. But go ahead, Peter. Continue.
No, I just want to belabor that point that this white person going through the country is like, yo, it looks like you hate your people. Because if you didn't hate your people, it wouldn't be like this. Go ahead, y'all.
So here it is, and it brings us to bear. For you who are listening to us tonight, I want you to take this home with you. Okay. For those of you who are on Facebook and asking, oh, Mr. Cummings don't know better, but now Mr. Cummings should be all over the place. No. Here's why. When AIDS were on the rage killing Africans, when Mr. Cummings were in the position to impact and bring people together, he started indirectly organize people to give African nations, South Africa, West Africa, East Africa, and the rest of the third world country. But we focus with Liberia being the center of that because he could not discriminate based on his position. Okay, provide free AIDS medication for our people. In 2014, at the height of his career, he packed up his bag when the people that you hired that were making tens of thousands, some of them $20,000 and $30,000 a month, packed up their stuff. They were running away, okay, to Nigeria, to Ghana, to the point that the president at the time have to come and say, once you leave under these circumstances, you will not have a job when you come back, okay? He, as a CEO of a legacy American organization, a multi-billion-dollar organization, right? Pack up his stuff, took a plane, okay, came to Liberia with millions of dollars worth of drugs to make sure, because at that point, he was in a position of power. His face meant a lot. He had clout. The mere fact that the CEO of Coca-Cola were going to Liberia, okay? The day Mr. Cummings was flying to Liberia, his wife and us were at the Carter Center. Obama came to town. A lot of Liberian people don't know this, okay? Obama came to town. In fact, when Sawyer, who was Ellie's son's friend, who were in the Liberian government, flew out of Liberia and went to Nigeria and he died on his way to the US, okay? I was the one who did the interview. I know this because I'm an eyewitness. So I'm not saying they say, I said when Mr. Cummings were on his way to Liberia, his wife were at the Carter Center. We had left from Emory University Hospital where Obama was in town. So this man took his time, took his money, and came to rescue you, so to speak. Okay, brought the cloud I needed because my baby, my first daughter, volunteered to go to Liberia. That time she was working for CDC. You know what they said? She could not go because the tie was too close, the lineage, right? And they did not want her because she would be compromised because of, you know, her connection, her mother country, where she comes from. So, but she could work at the core center and support in logistics, and she stayed. Now, you want Mr. Cummings, then not after the Ebola, during Corona. After you said, oh, we know he's a good person, but he came late, so we didn't vote for him. We'll vote for him this time. He never left. He stayed with you. He got businesses in Liberia. He visited all of your candidates, every candidate in Liberia, to make sure he understands your plight, your suffering. And this is where, and I'm going to come back to this, this is where when I talk about FDR, where it comes from. FDR during the Great Depression, Georgia, where is my state where I mature where I came and turned to a young adult and I'm turning to an old lady. Okay. Georgia had a place here for polio survivor to come and get therapy. Because he knew Georgia, he found out that the South was struggling. Okay. FDR decided he would help Georgia to electrify Georgia, especially the farmers. So guess what? He had a plan. That we say what? Relieve, recover, and reform. So he had a plan. So y'all tell us y'all came to rescue. What is the rescue plan? What is the first approach to your rescue plan? I don't see it. Who are you rescuing? Yourself. That's what I see. After you would have taken over, what is the next step? All you hear every day, Peter, is $500,000 missing. This person increased their budget $65 million. The other person just spent $250,000. The other thing is missing. They're doing audit. The other person removed. Bouaka removed the governor, not because they found something with him, but for him to put his nephew. He's going to pay this man millions of dollars, put his nephew and pay him $56,000 a month. But the police are begging the street, excuse me. Children, the Peter just rightfully say, babies are still selling in the street. Today, a young man, this is the second time, last month, this month, breaking rocks, died, the rock fell over him. Today, a guy got sunk in the sand because he was digging sand to sell. Okay? But you got one of your lawmakers got $75,000 for scholarship. How is that scholarship earned? Nobody knows. I just told you, for you, empathy. When you have empathy, you do not really have to go and experience the people. It's just putting yourself in that person, in people's shoes. What if I was in this predicament? How would I want to be treated? And the reason I'm bringing these people, the Jerry Rawlings of Ghana, the FDR, okay, the JFK, some of them, because they've been there, they've seen the suffering of the people. Papa Bouaka have been in government for 40 some more years, a vice president, and still do not understand. One of his selling point was, do you know the country? Do you know the dialect that the people speak? Do you understand that? Do you know their plights? Now their plight is out here. Now, Peter, we'll talk about it, and I'm going to come back to you, and then you can close up here. I want to also talk about the responsibility of the citizens in democracy. You there, Peter?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm here.
Mhm.
So, couple of things I want to touch on, Yesendi, before you came out. Before the first thing was the people who are leading our country right now.
Right.
I believe they steal money for two reasons: A, they have access to, they know there's no accountability,
Right.
and B, because they can, because they don't have a choice. Let me tell you why I mean when I say they don't have a choice. And to me, saying they don't have a choice is more damning than anything else. These people's ambitions, how they see themselves, it is far greater than their talents.
Right.
I'm gonna say it again. Their ambition, the things that they want, the way they want to be seen as kings and celebrities, and they want to have all this money, but they don't have the talent to
Correct.
earn that. So they must steal, because if you had a talent, you don't have to do that.
No, you don't.
This is why you see police officers here don't take bribes from people. It's not worth it.
Nope.
No need for that, right? And it's professionalism has something to do with it. But when you see Mo Ali taking money, $250,000 to build something that costs $15,000. What are we talking about here? Mo Ali wouldn't be able to earn $250,000 if for the rest of his life if he was
in his lifetime. That is correct. I'm sorry, bro.
In a country where he had to compete. This is what angers me, right?
There's nothing wrong with wanting $250,000. Compete for it. Come here.
Correct.
So you and I, your family, my family, me and you can compete. I want to save money too. Let's compete. Don't lie. Don't scam. Don't scheme nobody. Don't run no 419. Go earn it. Go work for it. If you want to make all that money, work for it. But you have to lie and steal and swindle and manipulate people, because that's the only way you'll be able to earn that. Your ambition doesn't match your talent. Okay? All they're gonna do, Yasendi, is make excuses. That's the most hurtful part. We knew Joseph Boyka was not going to be able to be a good president because he did not demonstrate anything that a president needed. So as a person like me, a lot of people will scream from the top of our lungs, this is a scam. He doesn't have it. He's a con man. And he's avoiding real interview questions. He's not answering questions. This is how we know he didn't have it. We knew the only thing that's going to come out of that, because the job has to be done. So if you fake to get the job, you fake like you're a pilot, guess what you have to do at some point? You got to fly that plane.
Yeah. Right.
So now that he has to fly the plane, oh, it's not me. Maybe the weather. Oh, I got asthma, just way small. He don't even know which buttons to push. And they're going to make excuses after excuses. The only bad thing is there are people who are suffering and dying. This is where my passion comes from. It's just the empathy. My mom, my kids, my family, everything I love, everyone I love could be the ones who need that doctors, that medical care.
Exactly.
These women who can't make it to the hospital and die giving childbirth, these women who are building our nation dying, is because this guy has no idea what he's doing, and people are taking their money that should be dedicated to that, to giving us better health care, and putting it in their pockets. And they have no empathy about it. Okay? And all we're doing is sitting there and letting these people do it.
Right.
The other thing I want to talk about was Cummings. You said Cummings never left. You know why Cummings never left doing Ebola, doing Corona? He built a business, built his house. The same reason why we send money back to Liberia. Sandy. Cummings never left because he can't. The same reason why you can't stop talking about this is not right. It shouldn't be like that, because it's home. It's home. Cummings is just trying to fix home. He's just trying to fix it. There's nobody married to Cummings. The idea of Cummings being president. We want somebody like Cummings. And I don't need to apologize to no one for that. And the reason that we need someone like him is because he has the expertise. That's it. He answers the questions the right way that an expert would. Okay? So he's going nowhere. He's going to keep trying. You talk about relief, recovery, reform, yes, indeed.
Right.
That is touching. Here's why. So these people come, and I challenge them to come on a platform. Spoon's away. We have 2 people watching us. Spoon have 2 million, right? I challenge these people to come and talk about, in any intelligent way, about how the world connects to Liberia like we are. I dare them. Every problem we go through in Liberia has already been solved. Every issue has been solved by someone else. If you want to talk about the mosquito, you want to talk about mosquitoes in Liberia, we get recently Panama, when they were building the Panama Canal.
Exactly. But even here, the mosquito, in fact, if you remember, initially, this is Georgia, Jewish people weren't allowed. The only reason they allowed the Jewish people because they had a doctor who knew about malaria. Okay, what do you call it, Dr. Newton. Okay, coming from Austria in other part of the place. Okay, and the Indians. So yes, like you say, every problem that Liberia is experiencing has been solved.
It's been solved somewhere, right?
Right.
Here's how you know the person who's leading is an expert. They can talk in a nuanced way about it and connect everything, right? When I talk about Panama Canal and the issues of mosquitoes and sit in water, People were dying from that. That was not an American
Oh,
thing, but
yeah.
American Legion
Yes.
Canal. So what they did was they like, okay, how do we solve it? Put experts on it. All right, let's breed bats. Let's breed these fishes. Like, let's use oil. Let's use, and experts took care of it, right? And the mosquito rate went from 100% to 2%. Got wiped out. The point I'm making is, let's talk about relief. Whenever you come to a country, I said, when I say this is touching, this is why I'm not going to give these people 1 second of respite. The reason I'm not going to give them 1 second of peace is because they are running a con game, and I'm not with playing along with them. I don't play well with con men. I don't. I will speak to people respectfully when you deserve it. And that's what I do all day, every day. But when it comes to people who are hurting people, there is no kindness to me. There is no civility. This is because you are literally running a war on the souls of our people. Here's what I mean, and here's the connection to that, Yasendi.
I'm listening.
Let's start when you take over a country, impoverished country, or bankrupt country. The first thing you do is not pass draconian laws and say you must wear a helmet, or you can't ride your bike, or you must get insurance. Like, what are you talking about? First, let's create money.
And take you $300 from these kids. $300.
Yes.
For each person.
$300. Because they have no other way of making money. The first thing you do.
No, but Peter, here it is though. Not only did they do that, then they turn around and brag about how they collected the most revenue. And not only did it, they turn around and increase their own budgets. Not anything impacting the nation. Not the schools, not the police, not the army. Okay, they did not.
Yeah, but
the nurses, none.
Yeah, but then we're supposed to respect them. Talk to them politely. They're your leaders. They're not my leader. They can't lead me. They'll never be able to lead me. From kindergarten to now, as an old man, they couldn't lead me. They couldn't lead any of my friends. We're go-getters. We from the dirt. We're informed. You can't lead us. People like that would never be able to lead us. They have never led us. The first thing they must do, people like that, when you take over a bankrupt country, is offer relief.
Relief.
That means you make you make things, you assuage the conditions.
And then you infuse into the economy. It boosts and create confidence for your people. Go ahead.
Yes.
Sorry. Not to.
The first thing you do is you offer relief to the people. You make them say, let them breathe. That's where it worked to every place. You go to Southeast Asian nation countries. They build homes for young people, high-rise building. So don't worry about homes no more. Go to school. We're going to subsidize your electricity. We're going to subsidize food. We're going to do all that for you. Go learn the skill. That's what he's supposed to do. Take care of the people first.
Yes.
You don't go just sat passing the authority that the Constitution.
You're passing taxes. Yes. No. And Peter, you know where the day after the Great Depression here, this man created something called the Civilian Conservation Corps, like corporation.
Yep.
It for young people, young men from 18 to 25, over 3 million of them to work.
Can I add to that, Yasendi?
Yeah, totally.
There is a reason why he picked young men. So when you look at the story, not only did they pick young men and relieve them, they retired. They created pensions.
Yes.
Here's why.
Yes.
They said older folks are going to save money. They're not going to spend money. We need spenders. When we get young people money, they're going to buy a car. They're going to want to take their girlfriends out. The economy will be boosted. But with that being said, that means the money has to circulate, right? It's not like they're putting money out there so that Lebanese and Chinese can take out their country. The money has to circulate, okay? So they retire older folks and give them pension. The government took care of them. And for young people, they give them jobs. Public works jobs. Look at all our buildings. Go paint them. Go plant trees. Go do this. Go do that. The country literally, purposefully, intentionally give them money.
Hold on one second. Peter, somebody want to come here. Do you mind if I bring them on?
Sure,
I've
go for it.
never, huh?
Go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna send it in your inbox. I thought you were not feeling well. How come you're here? But I hope you're feeling better. Let me see if I can find Peter. Keep talking so I can bring you on.
Okay. So the first thing you're supposed to do is offer relief, not beat the people, not beat them, not take their bikes away, not try to enforce and bully them. Okay, that's the first thing you need to do. The next thing that they do and every country has done was recovery. So again, the first thing they did was give the people things to make them breathe. Exhale first. The next thing is recovery. How do we get the economy going?
Yes.
Okay. How do we get the economy going? Okay. Where's the money going in the country? Maybe we should industrialize our marketeers and open supermarkets and stores, and maybe we should have our Liberians compete with these hotels. Let's give them money to build hotels.
Yep.
I know this was Cummins' plan.
Yeah.
Let's help these people who want to open a grocery store, the mom and pop stores, these kids who want to sell cell phones. Let's industrialize our people. Let's make them work. Let's build.
Right.
Let's empower Liberians. Right. You recover the economy. You take the economy in the Liberian sense. You take the economy for being run by foreigners. You make sure Liberians are running it. That will be recovery. Okay. Find a way to get the money to circulate. Guys, every problem we have, someone else already solved it. Everyone from South American countries to Argentina to, I know they're struggling now, but to all the Southeast Asian nation countries to Vietnam, all these people went through this before. If you look at the Caribbean, a lot of their money, one of the things you don't do is sell your gold like we're doing. Is not smart. Their money, like you look at St. Kitts and Grenada, their money is like $1 to US, not $177 to $1. They don't have the resources we have. Why is their money value so high? Because of how they're running the economy. They literally they put their people first. They have experts who come up with brilliant ways to make sure that they're okay, they're sustainable.
Peter, while you're educated, let me come back to Wilma. Wilma, as I inbox you the link, I want you to come on and tell me what you call angry. And you know why? I'm angry.
I am angry.
Yeah, and I'm supposed to be angry. Here's why. I came to this country as a young lady, barely 21 years old. No mother, no father. The lady who took me to a college down the street and said, go apply. They didn't know my name. They know my mom name. Don't know my dad name. I took the TOEFL. I took the college entrance. When I passed it, I went to the school. Okay. I got a job. I don't have to beg anyone. I didn't have to sleep with anyone. I didn't have to go meet anyone in the office. Okay. So now, if you call this angry, if you are not angry to see your country being mentioned for stealing every day, because you know what? Yesterday, my dad, you were talking about all of us were talking about Yesterday, the CSA director, Josiah Joker, was the one who read our petition for Movement for Justice in Nancy Pelosi office as to the corruption, okay, that was killing the nation. So you're coming now to say, I am angry. Yes, I'm angry. As a mother who my last baby, before she could turn 18, had hundreds of colleges writing her based on her academics and what athletic or acumen. They don't know my name. It's based on merits. And the thing with Liberians and Peter, You get these people who are supposed to be informed and educated, keep moving the goalposts because that's their family, because that's their friends, because they are connected. Listen, Peter, you and I were talking today that while we do what we do, right? And we say, like, when people always think people have other motives. I have motives. I do. My motive is to see a nation that I'm proud of, to see a leader that is people-centered, to see a leader that is transparent, to see a leader that is vision-driven, to see a leader that says, Liberians, we're here today, but in 3 months, this is where we're going to be down the line. In 12 months, this is what we're going to see. Look at the little boy, who my oldest daughter is older than, 36-year-old in Burkina Faso. If you are, my mom used to say, a child, Peter, I don't know if you ever read this book called The Financier or Bobby. Found those book. Okay, Bobby or The Financier. It talks about wanting, when you want something badly. This is not the Alchemist is also good, but the Bible or the Financier. Okay, it's about capitalism. It's about leadership. It's about coming from the back of the line, wanting more and fighting to get more. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with me asking for my nation? If one person can have $17 million as a budget in a third world country, where over 3.6 million live on less than what? $2 a day in abject poverty. And you're okay with that? And if you put a bus on Broad Street and say anybody that make it to this bus will make it to the US, will make it to England, will make it to Denmark, will make it to Switzerland, will make it to Australia, that people will kill their brothers and sisters to get on that bus. And you are not embarrassed? I send you the link. Come on, old man. Come on, my friend. Come on, let's have the conversation. My sister, come on. I'm waiting for you. I am all ears. Let's have this conversation. But we're about to leave. We'll give you some minute to come on. Peter is here. I'm here. Please come on. Peter, go ahead.
Yeah. So, anyway, when you take over a country, there are steps and there are ways that you go about bringing together that other people have done, not theoretical, things that have worked for other people, things that are working, not one person, not two nations, not three nations, not four nations, bunch of nations. There's work for. If the people who are leading our country understood
Peter, I'm sorry, Peter, not to quit. The person said they're talking to you. I'm not sure. Peter is an educator. He's educating our people. So I don't think, if he's angry, why can't he be angry? Peter, go ahead. Sorry, Omer. Sorry.
Yeah, so I am angry. And I'm glad you...
And we are owning up to it.
I'm glad you reminded me that I was angry. I am. I'm very angry. I'm angry because I have empathy. My question to you is, why aren't you angry? Let me go down the list why I'm angry. Would you be okay if your children couldn't have medical attention if they needed it? Would that make you angry if you could rescue, you watch your child drown? Let me use that as an analogy. If you're watching your child drown in a pool and you want to jump in and save your child, but there are people holding you back, would that make you angry? If you're in a burning building and you want to rescue your family, but it told you, nope, you got to sit there. You got to wait until this song is done. You have to slow dance in this burning building. Will you be okay with that? I'm angry because for the same reason I'll be angry of anyone taking advantage of anybody. It is bullying. It is my empathy that makes me angry. And it makes me angry that a person like you aren't angry about it. You're not ashamed that we have zinc houses on our main street and our people are struggling. Have you gone to the market in Liberia? That doesn't bother you? It doesn't shake you to the core
when you see flies everywhere and there are babies on the ground laying next to mom because there's no one to take care of them, there's no after school program. I'm angry because I know we can do so much better. I'm angry because we are literally watching people take advantage of people. And we're behind this glass wall and we're banging on the wall and no one would look up. And you're okay with that. I'm angry because there are people like you who's playing human shield for these people. That's not okay. And you want to normalize it.
Peter, hold on 1 second. Well, I can't bring you on unless I see your face, because all of our faces are here. So you can't come on without the camera, okay? And we're almost ending. So I need you to come on. I need you to turn your camera on because we need to know who we're talking to. You're coming to make your point. As we are making our points, I would need your face and your voice, okay? Let's put the voice with a face so you make your argument. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. So yeah, I make no apologies for being angry. If people were not angry and sick of the conditions of our people as a skin color, we would still be slaves.
Yeah.
I'm willing to put everything on the line. I don't have, to be honest, like I have adjusted in other people's country. So there's no compelling reason why I speak on Liberia outside the fact that I just care about how people treat people. And let me be honest with you. If this was a story about China, I feel, and I'm going to take you a step further. The war that's going on in between Israel and the Palestinians, it's hard to watch for me. I just don't, and I'm not sure if Israel is right or wrong. I just see one person with overwhelming power mowing down another group of people. And that also angers me because I'm a human being that cares about people. And guess what? I can't help it. That's just who I am. Just like you're comfortable watching Joseph Boycott take the lion's share and Youngly take the lion's share, and our kids having no schools, no hospitals, no running water. They're walking barefooted. They don't have a future compared to other people. Just as that makes you comfortable, it makes me just as uncomfortable on the opposite end of the spectrum. There are just people like that. There are people who are comfortable with being like you are, and there are people who are very uncomfortable. And I speak because I'm uncomfortable with it. And the fact that you're confronting me instead of adding to my voice and say we need to change the system speaks more about you than it does about me. But I really want to go back to I wish you would have let this person on either way.
Peter, I don't mind bringing them on, but you have to put a camera on. I'm not gonna bring our ghost on.
I got you.
We are conversating. Yeah, I mean, I'm making that decision now. I know he's talking to you or she's talking to you. If you're gonna come on and have a conversation with us, let's have a face-to-face, okay? I don't mind having a face-to-face. I don't mind anyone out there for that matter who think our position is too extreme or is this, is that. That's okay. Come on and tell us why you think your position is better. Watching Liberian children die. Watching. I don't know anywhere in the world, especially you live in America. In 2008, when Obama took over, okay, they have the recovery plan. Obama recovery plan. The first scheme were what? Relief. Even for Wall Street, who brought the issue and broke down the housing market, right? We relieved them. We relieved the what do you call it? The car manufacturing industry. We relieved them. Lehman Brothers, we relieved them. Even after saying everything, we gave money to people that will purchase to pour money back. We relieve people by giving money to the DOTs in other countries, in other states, to repave the road, to create parks, to do stuff, to make sure everybody, America went back to work, to infuse money in the economy. We didn't go out telling people you must pay taxes, you must pay. In fact, they gave American people who own homes time, okay, and to and work with mortgage company because people didn't have money to make sure they kept their homes. People who were paying rent, okay, they gave them extension, grace period. They didn't come and say, you must do this. Where would the money come from? With 90% unemployment. So yes, if you are not angry, then something is wrong with that. If you were angry when we was there, doing the same thing, and you come to do worse, and you don't want anybody to be angry, because now your uncles, your auntie, your brothers, your sister, for us, that's not the way it works. It does not work that way. But Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, I lose my train of thought. But
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Anyway, you can't.
You were saying you were angry.
Yeah, you can't running a nation just like cooking the food. There's a formula to it. I think I left off with reform. So the first was relief. Give me a second. Yeah. I'm going to lose my train of thought.
Okay, sorry. I was just bringing you to where you were. Mm-hmm.
Okay, relief, recovery, and reform. I think I was at reform.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So reform just means we're not going to go back. What caused this to happen, and we're not going to go back to it. Here's why I'm bringing all this to bear right now. When a country, when a leader, when a group of people say we're going to come and fix things, they're going to tell you a systematic way in which they're going to do it.
Correct.
They're going to tell you step-by-step procedures. They're going to update you. They're going to allow you to ask questions. They're going to reinforce. They are going to what's the term I'm looking for? They're going to make you feel good about it. Okay? They're going to, any fear that you have, they're going to assuage that fear. You don't see that. The reason you don't see that is because they don't have the recovery plan. The reason they don't have the recovery plan is because they haven't studied this stuff. And they lie and they manipulate it. And they destroy people to get to the front of the line, and they can't fly the plane. And we can't let that go. I'm very, very angry about it. Just like I'll be very, very angry if I watch a bully punch a helpless person in the face in the street. Maybe you won't, but I would park my car and go and help every time. It's bullying. It's bullying at the worst form of it. And you're doing it to helpless people. For a long time, when we first came to this people's country, one of the things I heard a lot in college, and it was mostly with the educated African Americans, they used to say, Africans sold us. Now, just full disclosure, I was an athlete, because when you're an athlete, any athlete in college knows that you're liked a little bit just because you're an athlete, right? So people speak freely. So you get to interact with a lot more people than the regular person. Here's one prevalent thing that I heard over and over when I was at Michigan State. Africans sold Black people to slavery.
Yep.
You guys sold us. You're not us. You sold us.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, that bothered me. I'm like, we didn't sell you. Number one. Number two, there were slaves. There were fights in the fights like we have now in Africa. But a lot of the leaders, my comeback used to be, as I got older, around my junior, senior year, was, well, there was a different form of slavery in practice in America, was called chattel slavery, than the slavery that was practiced in Africa. The slavery in Africa was, you guys go to war, you fight, you capture people to work on the farm.
You capture people, they become your property. Yes. Mm-hmm. And you sold them whatever you did with them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was indentured servitude, right? So you work for a while, and then you can even marry into the family, you can move up. They're dehumanizing of people, raping them, selling their kids, perpetual slavery. That was in America. Now, a lot of the Africans who were, when these white folks came, this is me making excuses now, and I'm coming to a place with this. A lot of the Africans who were capturing people. And when the white folks said they needed extra workers, in their mind's eyes, it was going to be the same thing as in Africa, right? Because the Muslims were doing slavery for a long time. But even with their form of slavery, you could move out in their society. Not in the white society, not in the Western form of slavery, right? Charter slavery. You couldn't move up. You're a perpetual slave. Your kids were slaves. All of it was that. Okay. So now, here's where I'm coming to. That used to bother me when they say, "Oh, you guys sold us into slavery." I was like, "Nah, it's not the same thing," and making excuses. Guys, as I have pivoted back, so for years and years, I'm just building my career. I'm not really focusing on Liberia. I'm just trying to make sure my family's okay. Until recently, when my father died, I started to pay attention more to Liberia, which is the last few years, right? Guys.
And Peter, if you don't mind, that's something that I know is probably personal. Where did your father die? How did your father die? Maybe it will help.
Yeah. I don't know how important it is. He died from a stroke.
No, it's important. But did he die here or he died in Liberia?
Liberia.
Okay,
Again, that's
what I'm saying. That's one of the things that brought you to So, however, because people don't understand people's stories. We all have different stories.
Yeah.
So this is what the way we act from our experiences. Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So this is what got me paying attention. Okay, closer attention to how things are and why they are the way they are. Okay, I have friends in the Caribbean. I go visit them. I have friends from Belize, friends from the Bahamas, some of my closest friends from college. In their countries, and in Jamaica, their countries remind me of Liberia, but it's not Liberia. Okay. Anyway, as I start to pivot back to Liberia, here's what I know. Here's what I noticed. Guys, I believe that even if Liberians knew that it was perpetual slavery, I'm saying Liberian, I'm talking about Africans as a whole. Even if a person like Joseph Boyka knew that it was perpetual slavery, I believe he would have still been okay with selling our people.
Mm-hmm.
This was bothering me. Okay, this is where my anger is coming from. So the question should be, why would you say that man would sell slaves? Here's why I believe that he would sell slaves. Go back to the pizza analogy. We get 20 slices. There are 20 people in a room, and someone's getting 18 slices. 2 people getting 18 slices, and the rest of the 18 people got only 2 slices to share. He does not speak about it. He does not lead by example. He is okay with manipulating vulnerable people that look up to him. He's okay with that. That's a major problem. To me, that type of temperament, that thinking is a detriment. That thinking will not mind people taking advantage of our people. He is watching people extract our resources on train tracks and taking them to ports and take them out and asking them a question. He sold the Putu Mountain. He's watching our children not have schools, and he's not doing anything about it. Why would that man not sell people who he doesn't think belongs in his tribe or his clan?
Peter, may I play this, please? Can
Sure.
you hold your thought for me? I want you guys to see this, okay? None of the government official children will go to this place. None of the and then that includes the Supreme Court, the court system, the cabinets, the president, the lawmakers. Okay. I want you to bear with me and watch this. Walama, I can't bring you on unless I see you. I'm not going to bring invisible people. I know you, but the world does not know you. If you're going to have a conversation with us, I want you face. You can join us next Thursday, though. I would love to have you to hear your perspective. There's nothing, we have conversation on this platform. It's open to all. Peter is an educator. He's open to any debate, anytime, any place. We want to hear, we want to see from your vantage point, your lens, what you see. Maybe you don't see the way we see. Okay. We're speaking from passion. You call it anger. And even if we're angry, maybe, okay, and not maybe, we have reason to be angry because we all have our own personal experiences. So let me play this for you all. Give me 1 second. This is Liberia, Peter. This is a school in Liberia. It's not wrong.
Can help them provide
Somebody from here is trying to help these
to see how Yes for Girls Foundation can help them provide some of these basic things they need on our campus to make these kids to learn comfortably. How are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, you're writing tests? Okay, so this is the
This is
third grade class,
This is 2025.
third and fourth. No chairs. So the students are sitting on a ladder, as you can see them. This is the first grade class. No chair. The kids are sitting on the floor again. To see how
Peter, go ahead and finish your talk so we can end the show.
Yeah.
Actually, you're all right. I'm sorry. If
No.
you are a Liberian and you are not angry, I have plenty of this in my, because people send them to me. People ask me to donate. In fact, 3 years ago on my birthday, I raised $1,400 on this platform. I gave it to a school in Mangibi to be plastered, okay, and have chairs put in there. All that money I give it to them on my birthday for the work I do when you guys reach out to me. But go ahead, Peter.
So I just think it's insulting for someone to say, "Why are you angry?" I'm very angry, and my anger is not going to dissipate anytime soon. And I suspect, yeah, poverty happens, right? Like poverty happens. That's not unique to Liberia. There's a lot of poor people. But here's the problem. Here's what's unique. Here's what's the difference is. You cannot have someone making $20,000 or
$56,000 in the same country, working for government, not private entity, not somebody who innovated, who invented, not an entrepreneur, a government official, president's nephew. Go ahead. Sorry, Peter. I will not interrupt you. Let me put myself on mute because you know I will.
Yeah, you can't have those two dichotomies, right? Someone who is, you have government officials, public servants, making on an average $10,000 to $15,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $56,000 a month, and you have kids being taught, and that is our future. And you say to me, "Why are you angry?" And you say to me, "Respect your leaders." You say to me, "Respect your leaders." Respect my leaders for what? He's not my leader. He's not my leader at all. Someone who would lead me wouldn't say that, wouldn't do that. He would say something about it. He would use his bully's pulpit, which is the presidency and his position. He would use that to help children. That would never fly in his any world that he controls. So how do you see that and you're not angry about it? it bothers my soul that you're okay with that. And it's never not going to bother me. And the fact that it doesn't bother you or people like you is an indictment on your character. My question is, what are you fighting for if you're okay with that? The disparity in how the wealth is distributed. How are you okay with that? I mean, it is sad. It's absolutely deplorable. It's absolutely sad. And yeah, I'm going to close on this. They can tell you a game plan to change it. But yet, they want to be treated like they're kings. And yet, they want to be treated as if they're VIPs. VIP how? What's your value added? What we just saw is our country. It's not just the only place. You go in Liberia, in Monrovia, there are people living like that. In Monrovia. People are sleeping in those deplorable conditions. People are still sleeping in mat houses. You can't have your citizens sleeping in those conditions and you're taking home $56,000 US a month, or $30,000 or $20,000 for doing what? What are you a VIP of? That you won an election? That you were able to convince people who were desperate to trust you? How are you doing the job? And now you have convinced these people this is as good as it gets. So you take the bikes. Everywhere you turn, there's chaos. Everywhere you turn, the Capitol is burning. Our police are fighting each other. There's protests everywhere. The motorcyclists are protesting. It's all a game. You don't know how to cook this food. And you'll not step down, and you're proud, and you don't have any, you have no humility. And then you ask me, why are you angry? I'm angry because I'm watching con men hurt the people I love and hurt my country, because that could have been me. That could have been us. We're just lucky. Anyway, go ahead, y'all. You're muted.
Thank you for tuning in. This is our message to you tonight. For me, all right, the essence of studying, the essence of learning. I come from the people from Nimakani say, "Oh, Savo Gwenzida." Anything that you want to make, for that matter, that's why engineers have schematics, or you call it rendering. Okay, or a blueprint. Okay, so if they are going to a new place, they're building a new idea, but the integrity of that structure, they will still go through where if the bottom block is going to be 6 by 8, is 6 by 8 for the integrity of that particular structure. Okay, if there will be beam added, they will go through that. What has it happened before? And that's what for us who teach social sciences, okay, who learn history, be it let's say world history, localized history of sciences. The goal is the same. In today's world, you have to understand, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. The wheel is there. What needs to happen is you need to modify it, customize it to fit your particular culture and your need. And that's what we're telling you. So if you bring in the schematics, you will have to adjust it, okay, or the blueprints. So let's say the last person who built something that was maybe 1,500 square footage, all right? You're trying to build a 1,600 square footage or lower. You will have to make an adjustment to that. But you will have an inkling or an insight as to where you're headed. The beginning, you have some mental picture as to where you want to go to be able to draw that, give yourself the rendering. Okay, and this is what we're saying to you. Other nations who suffer the way we have when they chose their leaders. Okay, and let me tell you something. In America, those days, the state have power. We had a governor here that was elected 4 times. He did not want to touch FDR, what do you call it, relief plan, because he thought if the relief was going to be equal for the blacks and the white, and he did not want it for black people. So because of that, he had a resistance. But the people saw through him and they voted him out and voted somebody else so they all can have that relief. Okay. So what we are telling you is, if you come to rescue a dying nation, you first have to relieve them. Give them some kind of relief. You don't strangulate them. You don't charge them $300. These children are driving. Peter, you're always in Liberia like me. They get up in the morning, okay, before dusk. Before dawn. And they don't get to bed till maybe midnight. These boys, and you see a lot of Liberian boys are dying from respiratory system problem. They're dying from hernia because they're literally sitting on their private part on the sea all day long. Young boys running back and forth. All right. But you got people making, one person gets $75,000 for scholarship for whatever reason. The president carry a budget up, finance $65 million. They say, oh, we collected record taxes, but the country is dying, 90% unemployment, and you're squeezing out of these people. Then they increase their budgets when the rest of the world is cutting back. The great United States is cutting back. England, the United Kingdom is cutting back. Australia is cutting back. Okay? Then you think about it. Even India, that have all of the factory and what we can input engineers from, they're cutting back. But you increase your budget. At the same time, telling our people they should pray. They should fast and pray. That's an insult. So I am mad. I am mad when I have to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, when I see a post on Facebook, when a single mom with a 6-year-old is trying to unalive herself and her child because she don't know what her child will eat and she's tired. When I wake up in the morning with a young man hanging down the ceiling because he's frustrated and depressed. When people are calling and say, oh, Ma, if you don't help, I got my own children. I got my own responsibility. I'm about to retire maybe in 6 years. I can't afford that. Especially in a nation that pays one person $56,000 a month. That pays lawmaker just on the book $10,000 to $15,000. Then they have all this committee room. You got one young man, 36-year-old, in 2 years, have almost changed his country. That will take Liberia 180 years. If you are not angry, I would say you're unpatriotic. You have no empathy. And you don't love your country and your people. That is my opinion. That is my observation. That is my experience. And I know my experience with Liberia. Then why then did we kill the people in 1980? Why then did we hunt down the people from 1980 to 1999, kill the president? Why then did we? Why did we change it? Why did we kill people for 14 years, even after we killed Dole? Why? This is where I stand. That's my final talk. Peter?
Yeah, so again, thanks for the conversation tonight.
Thank you, Peter.
Here's where I want to close, right? And okay. I want to stay on the theme of anger. Again, value added, guys. Value added.
I'm talking about what these people are bringing to the country compared to what they're taking out. I would like someone who says, "Don't be so angry. Respect this leader." Excuse me. Respect this leader to tell me what value this leader is adding to the country. Mind you, now we just watched a video that was not AI of children sitting on the ground.
Mhm.
Who knows those people teaching them what? Those are future doctors, engineers, architects that you're looking at. Lawyers, pharmacists. We don't know that. Dreams destroyed. Dreams destroyed. And you're telling me why you're angry. My pushback is, why aren't you angry? Here's the question. What sacrifices? Because mind you now, they're asking our people to make sacrifices. Go get the helmet, go get the insurance. I don't know when that became a problem in Liberia, where there is this huge non-insurance problem. No, somebody is going to benefit from our kids paying that money, and they were going to pocket it. So therefore, you're trying to squeeze revenue. There's another form of tax in them. And someone told me on Facebook, well, America tax people, yeah, but I can also pick up the phone, dial 911, and I would
Yep.
be in a world-class hospital in 2 seconds.
Right.
If something's happened to my child, they would tell me. They would tell me if there's stuff in the water in America. They would tell me, don't eat this certain food because it's going to get recalled. There are people checking those things.
Yes.
That's what I'm paying for. A kid from Liberia can come here and work his way up and make 6 figures where he doesn't have to, over 6 figures, where he doesn't have to steal from nobody
Exactly.
and rob no one. Do our kids have the same chance of upward mobility? No, they don't. Because the rice that we're supposed to be planting, some people are eating it when we're supposed to be planting so the harvest can be, everyone can feed off that harvest. Here's where I'm closing, Yacindy.
Mhm.
You're asking our people to pay this money and follow the rules of law. You're not following the rule of law. You
Nope.
illegally remove a speaker. You ignore the ruling of a Supreme Court. You are not respecting the rule of law, but you expect
Thank
other
you.
people to respect the rule of law. There's no society like that. Everything's out the window once you do that. Okay, you're not honest, but you want people, the police officers, to be honest. I'm saying you're putting the police in a very peculiar position because you're having them enforce laws that is opposite to what you're supposed to be doing. Now you're making the police hated by the citizens because of what you're instructing them to do.
Exactly.
Here's my question to you guys. What sacrifices has Joseph Boyka made for our country, or these leaders making? Tell me the sacrifices they're making. Then maybe I'll be less angry for 3 seconds.
Peter.
I just want to know the sacrifices. What has he given up to become president? It seems like this is just a one-way street. Only Liberia is given to that poor guy and to them. What are their sacrifices for Liberia? What are their options? If they were not in Liberia doing what they're doing right now, I'm talking about almost 100% of them. Where would they be working? And would it be better? The answer is no. They're not sacrificing for Liberia. So you're asking us to watch con men and con women and bullies bully our people, and we should be okay with that. No, sir. Never. Never, never, never. So unless we care about lifting the lives of our people and speaking up, things are not going to change, guys. So when you hear me speak, Yacindy, it's in protest. If I sat here and become professorial and just said, this is not right, we shouldn't do that, there's no one going to be listening. No one cares. The purpose of protest is to bring attention.
Right.
So I'm gonna beat the drums as loudly and as violently as I can. And the truth of the matter is, and God knows I'm willing to do a lot more than beat the drums. So just be happy with me beating the drums for now. You guys have a wonderful night.
Good night, everyone. And guys, we'll continue next week. We're going to talk about your responsibility as citizens who elect these people, what you should do, what you must do to make sure they're accountable. That said, let's say good night. Good night to all of you. Good night, Coach. I wanted to bring this on tonight. Please, Eugenia, we need to talk. Maybe we can talk over the weekend. I want you or to please save the date if you are in the Jersey area, the Philly area. Please join us on October 18th. Okay, that's Project Oxygen and Diaspora Women for Change. Dr. Richardson and I and our team. Okay, we will be hosting. I think it's been 3 years since we didn't last have something. We were running back and forth. Our legacy of strength award, we will be nominating. If you have a woman in mind, you have a male in mind who impact women, who stand for women, who speaks for women, please let us know. We will be taking nomination. Okay, they're about 5 spots. That's it. Okay, and I believe so. So I got to get back with Dr. Richardson to confirm. But for now, save the date. Please save the date. Please save the date. We should have done it last year, but last year everybody was busy trying to get election going the year before. Everybody was busy. This would be an opportunity to come together in a nice, beautiful place, have a conversation, hang out. Just folks, listen, when we are in person, we don't care about your political party. Okay. Your belief is your belief. We respect that. We get to hang out. We get to be Liberians first. Okay. So, City, good night. So, all of you, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me say God bless and good night. All right. Again, save the date, October 18, 2025. We will be in Jersey. Thank you.